Got one that can see.
I, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God.
At the top of the Capitol Dome in Washington, you can see the Goddess of Freedom, also known as Semiramis, Queen of Babylon, who later became Isis of Egypt. Now, we suggest the dome itself represents the womb of the goddess. So, if the dome represents the womb of the goddess, we should find nearby the phallus of the god, ready to impregnate her and bring forth the spirit of the sun god. And we most certainly do. Facing the dome is the phallus of the sun god, the Washington Monument. During his research for his book, Apollyon Rising 2012, Dr. Tom Horn travelled to Washington, D.C., where he met with Masons at the House of the Temple, the headquarters of the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite. Horn says these men were very cordial and mostly responsive to his questions. They even confirmed his understanding of the influence of Freemasonry in American history. It was only when he pressed one of them about a ritual called the raising ceremony, the raising of Osiris from the dead, it's also known as, which is conducted in the temple room on the third floor of the building. It's only then that these Masons became evasive and visibly uncomfortable. The reason for this, according to Dr. Horn, is that in addition to the raising ceremony being conducted when members reach the 33rd degree of Scottish Rite Freemasonry, this strange ceremony is performed without public knowledge in this very temple room at the inauguration of every United States president. Why is that? Because deep esoteric meaning behind Egyptian and Rosicrucian magic that was incorporated into the rites and rituals of Freemasonry hold that the spirit of Osiris can be raised from the underworld and installed, for want of a better term, in the reigning king or president. According to Tom Horn, this is why the US Capitol Dome is laid out so as to face the obelisk, the phallus of the sun god, known as the Washington Monument. An interesting point regarding the obelisk in Washington, the Washington Monument. The column is 6,666 inches high, and each side is 666 inches long. Now, obviously, this cannot be an accident, because we remember that the Antichrist's number in the Bible is 666.
I, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God.
Man, oh man, is this world gone crazy. I do pray you're all doing all right. Hanging in there. But I wanted to share this stuff with you. I've tried to make this video a few times, and I just want to keep going off on rants about things, and I can't do that. So I'm just going to try and keep it to what's been shown and illustrate to you this massive ritual which is being undertaken here at the Capitol. Now, this is something that occurs every single inauguration. There is a ritual that occurs right down the street from the Capitol at the House of the Temple, the headquarters of the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite. Now, just think about this. This is all to do with the temple. You are the temple. They want to destroy your temple and rebuild it in their image. I hope this is clear to you, and I hope that you understand that the United States Capitol is a temple. It was designed, it was dedicated, and it was built as a temple. To Osiris, to be specific. But they'll tell you Hiram-Abiff, because that just sounds a little more palatable than Osiris, right? But that's what the Capitol is. On the 6th, this so-called riot was literally a blood sacrifice in the temple. That's what it was. Exactly 14 days before the inauguration ritual. 14, remember, represents the generations, the double spiritual perfection. This is the devil mocking and mimicking and corrupting God's word. That's all it is. They're all complicit, and their goal is to corrupt the flesh, to destroy the temple, the 46, your temple. That's what this is. It's no coincidence that Trump was born on 6/14/46. 46, 46. He will have been in office for 1,460 days, or 61. 46, right? The inauguration, the 59th inauguration for the 46th president, right? Bush will be in attendance. Clinton will be in attendance. Obama will be in attendance. Bush, born 1946. It's true, and he read Psalm 23 on 9/11/2001. An act of blasphemy. Clinton, the setup man for 9/11, was born in 1946. You can't make this up. And of course, Obama, the 59-year-old, as in the 59th inauguration, read Psalm 46 on 9/11/2011.
Be still and know that I am God.
And his birth date just happens to coincide with the same day that Beirut, Lebanon was accidentally blown to smithereens. That wasn't a ritual, was it? So the 9/11 plays into this completely. It is a literal rebuilding of the temple in their image.
President, you raise your right hand. You, Harry S. Truman, do solemnly swear
I, Harry S. Truman, do solemnly swear
that you will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of your ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
(9/11, 2001) until the 19th, 20th, there's a little wiggle room there. 70 days. That is incredible to me. But it also equates to 10 weeks. And what do we see on every single watch and clock advertisement around the world? 10. Watch is what I'm getting out of that. And in the Hebrew concordance, the word 10 is house of Baal. What is this temple in Washington? It is a house of Baal. And again, Obama, 59. The Hebrew word 59 is Abel. It's not the same Abel as in Cain and Abel, but it's ironic that Obama started a foundation 7 years ago called My Brother's Keeper. And what did Cain say to God after he murdered Abel? And God asked him, "Where is your brother?" And what did Cain say? "What am I? My brother's keeper?" Do you understand what I'm showing you? And Obama creates a foundation called My Brother's Keeper, basically after a quote from a murderer, the first murderer. That's insane. And of course the 59. That represents the 59th minute, the 59th second, the last hour, the last minute. You see what I'm saying? The watch.
You know what? Sometimes what you leave out of a story is even more interesting than what you leave in. That happened when we were in Oxford, Maryland. Learned that the pride of that old town was one Robert Morris Jr., the financier of the American Revolution. Years ago, we used to go down to the county library to get a picture of a bird like that, but now we just use the internet. That's where I found this picture here. Now, the caption said it was a shot of the Greek god Mercury handing a bag of loot to Robert Morris, the financier of the American Revolution. Well, that's just a tiny part of a much bigger picture called the apotheosis of Washington. Now, apotheosis is a Greek word that means to make divine. In other words, this painting shows George Washington becoming a god. Now, I never knew that happened. But there it is for all to see, painted under the most famous dome in the whole country, maybe the whole world, the United States Capitol. Now, the most interesting part of this particular heaven are the folks that live in it. Now, you'd expect to see Moses and Abraham and Ezekiel and that crowd hanging around, but not a single fella from the Bible's up there. Now, Minerva, the Roman goddess of crafts and wisdom, is shown delivering an electrical generator and batteries and a printing press to Benjamin Franklin, Samuel Morse, and Robert Fulton. And Neptune, the Roman sea god, and Venus, the goddess of love, are shown helping to lay the transatlantic telegraph cable. I'll bet you they were a big help. Now, there's some other gods, but not a single prophet, apostle, or even a lower archangel in the whole 4,500 square feet. All I know is what I read on the internet, but you hear a lot of talk these days about the religious beliefs of our founding fathers. Now, those boys may have been as devout as saints. We'll never know. One thing's for sure, you'd never tell by looking at Capitol Dome. Charles Paparella, WBOC News.
The 70. The Greek word 70 literally means watch. That's what we're to be doing, watching. The Hebrew word 70 is a reed for measuring balances, which we can find ironically in Isaiah 46. In fact, let's go check it out. It's Isaiah 59. We'll get to that in a minute. That's incredible in and of itself. But Isaiah 46 is another very interesting thing. They lavish gold out of the bag and weigh silver in the balance. The 70. You know, just kind of like in Daniel when they've been weighed in the balance and been found wanting. Or like in Revelation 6 when the black horse holds a pair of balances in his hand. Right? They hire a goldsmith and maketh it a god. Then they fall down and they worship. This is what we're dealing with. Watch the balances, right? Then I was led to just take the number 70. This is crazy, guys. You just can't get around this. Divide it by 46. And it's 153.69. Because this all plays together. It's a giant ritual. It's all I can tell you. 46 years building the temple, they told Jesus. John 2:20. And in 3 days, he will raise it up. This is talking about his body. And it's talking about your body. You are the temple of God. When you accept Christ, what he did on the cross for you, atoning for your sin through his blood, you are reborn and become a new creature. You are in the world, but you are not of it. You are separate from this flesh, this 46. Do you understand? It's a very critical thing that you understand this. And the 5-9, the 59th inauguration. Well, the 5th month and the 9th day is Av 9, which is the day that the temples in Jerusalem were destroyed. But get a load of this. According to the Chabad, these are the authority in Jewish history, right? They claim the holy temples were destroyed in 423 BC and 69 AD. Now, why do you think they would say that? Really? And of course, the 46 books of the Old Testament, including the apocryphal books. It's all over the place, you guys. the 9th of Av. And then it gets really interesting because Isaiah 59, as in the 59th inauguration, we need to take a look at this too. Again, it's talking about the iniquities of the children of Israel, so on and so forth. You need to read this. But check out verse 5. We'll start in verse 4. None calleth for justice. Sound familiar? Nor any pleadeth for truth. They trust in vanity and speak lies. They conceive mischief and bring forth iniquity. That's exactly what we're witnessing. They hatch cockatrice eggs. What's a cockatrice? It's a viper. The same thing that the microneedles for your vaccines were designed after. Viper fangs. Yeah, we got this new wonderful vaccine. Doesn't hurt a bit. It'll get everything back to normal. We promise.
You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in.
Yes, please.
Okay. Are any of you Masons?
No.
Tour takes about an hour and it's $8 a person.
So here we are in the Grand Lodge of Scottish Rite of Freemasonry here in Washington, D.C. We are inside the building right now. Going to take a little bit of a tour, check out some of the scenery in here.
This is Albert Pike. He was our Grand Commander from 1859 till 1891 when he died in office. The reason why he's so significant is because he rewrote the rituals of Masonry and he rewrote the code book, Morals and Dogma. We have his body downstairs.
Was there another kind of Grand Commander before Albert Pike?
Yeah, there were several Grand Commanders before him, but he's the most prominent. He died at 82 years old, and so we asked every Grand Commander to step down when they're 81.
It's amazing. Check this out. I was rather blown away by the really the occult significance of the architecture inside the building. We were shown one of the main ritual rooms where they conduct their rituals, where only members of the 33rd degree are allowed in there, and the tour guide himself didn't seem to know a whole lot about the actual symbols and the meaning behind some of the symbolism.
So we call this room our temple room. It's not actually designed to look like a Christian temple. You'll notice the dome above us. It weighs 330 tons, and there's only steel found at the base of it. The reason why there's a hole or an oculus is because Masons believe anything that is perfect must be created by God. There are 33 chairs in this room. There are 33 degrees in Scottish Rite Masonry, 33 states in the southern jurisdiction, so that's why you'll see the number 33. All the wood in this room is from Russia. It's Russian walnut. The altar in the middle of the room is black marble quarried from Lake Champlain in New York. And the Hebrew writing in the middle says, God said, let there be light, and there was light.
So there's 3 with 1 missing, it looks like. Is this the
I don't know exactly.
North, south, west, and the east is missing, or?
No, that would be the east.
That would be the east?
Because that's north.
Right.
I don't know why that is missing, actually.
I asked him why there were only 3 lights at the altar, and he said he wasn't too sure why, but there are 3 because 1 represents the east, 1 represents the west, 1 represents the south, but in Masonry, the north is the place of darkness. And of course, according to the Bible tells us that the north is where God resides. Masonic Holy Bible.
When was this built, the building?
1911 it was started and it was finished in 1915. This was the architect's first major building. He went on to do the National Archives, National Gallery of Art, and the Jefferson Memorial. The snakes represent chaos, and the further up you go in the windows, the more light they let in, symbolizing enlightenment. So it's supposed to mean when you join Masonry, you join at a time of chaos in your life, and the further up you go in degrees, the more enlightened you become.
So, in the beginning, you just have to be open to the concept of there being a God. But as you work your way up the ranks and you gain enlightenment, he showed us windows in there that get brighter and brighter as you go up. And I found that very interesting. The windows were also surrounded by serpents. I asked him, what is the symbolism of the serpent? He said that's all about order out of chaos. The serpents represent chaos. And that is the motto of Freemasonry, really, is order out of chaos. This is precisely how they can gain their control.
The pillars are 30 tons of Windsor granite, quarried from Indiana, and the velvet is 400 pounds of Italian velvet. This chair we have right here is called the Tyler's chair. The man who sat here held a sword ceremoniously. It was his job to guard this room during council sessions to make sure people didn't listen in. Of course, we have the sword downstairs, and it's not sharp. I don't think he had to hit anyone with it, but you never know. And know thyself is a quote from Pythagoras. It's a quote that Masons take to heart. This room's called our executive chamber. You'll notice the Tyler sword right here. This is the sword the man held that I was telling you about upstairs. As you can see, it's not sharp. This is the Grand Commander's scepter. It's what he would carry in to start council sessions. And this case will only be opened in October of this year for council session. Council sessions every other year in October. This is where the 33 Inspector Generals would meet. There are 33 states in the Southern Jurisdiction, and we are the headquarters of the Southern Jurisdiction of Scottish Rite Masonry. They would meet in here at night. They would discuss legislative and money issues in here. Upstairs is mainly used for rituals. The ceiling actually used to be open. It used to be an open ceiling, but they closed that off because the meetings in here were held at night. There was no point having an open ceiling. And the reason why there's a Bible, a Quran, and a Torah on the altar here is because you don't have to believe in Jesus Christ. You can be any religion, just so long as you believe in God and be a Mason. These are just the holy books our leaders pray to.
The reason why they had the Quran and the Bible and the Pentateuch is because, as he said in his own words, you don't have to believe in Jesus Christ. You just have to believe in the idea that there is a God. And that is because Freemasonry is very much an ecumenical movement. It brings together all kinds of religions because you have to be open to the concept of there being a God. They refer to the God as the grand architect of the universe. That way it can encompass everyone on earth, and there can be members of the Brotherhood from the Muslim world, members of the Brotherhood from the Christian world, all over the world, bringing them all together.
To order, brethren, to receive the most worshipful, the Grand Master.
It's self-evident, Brother Franklin, all men are created equal. Indeed, Brother Washington, all Freemasons meet as equals.
So if you donate $1 million or more, you get your name on a plaque here, and you get a picture downstairs. We do have some plaques that open here, so if you all have $1 million just lying around, we accept checks, cash, credit cards. The Bush family and the Studebaker family are up there, although neither George Bush Sr. nor Jr. was a Mason. The light well in the back there was put in 1993. There are 33 beams of light, and Fiat Lux is Latin for let there be light, and Ordo ad Chao is order from chaos.
What is the significance of the Order ad Chao?
It's like a Masonic motto almost. So when you join Masonry, they say your life is in chaos, like you're not orderly. Mm-hmm. But the further up you go in Masonry, the more order you gain, the more enlightenment you gain. 14 US presidents were Masons, but the last one was Ford. Bill Clinton was a DeMolay, which is a junior Mason. He never became a full Mason.
I remember reading online that this building is based off of a Roman
It's Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. It's one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Okay. It's the tomb of the emperor, the king Halicarnassus. And on either side of our pillars of charity are our crypts. So Mr. Pike is buried 6 feet behind here, and Mr. Cowles is buried 6 feet behind there. Mr. Pike was moved here in 1944. We were fighting World War II at the time, so there was no mayor of Washington, D.C. So we had to ask the U.S. Congress if we could move his body across state lines. So it took an act of Congress to bring Mr. Pike here. Mr. Cowles lived in this building. He was our Grand Commander in the first half of the century. He lived in this building, he died in this building, and he wanted to be buried here. I've been told that these 2 men roam the halls as ghosts. I've not seen that, but if you do see them, let me know.
Albert Pike is a main component of this building. We were shown statues of Pike. We were shown where his body is entombed inside of here. And Albert Pike is also the one who wrote Morals and Dogma. And he very openly talks about who the true God of Freemasonry is. And in Morals and Dogma, he mentions that when you look to the light, as they told us over and over again, Masonry is about finding the light. And Albert Pike, which he clearly is highly revered, tells us in his book, Morals and Dogma, that the light bearer is Lucifer.
Lucifer, what is your problem?
Just that, sir.
Okay.
I'm a Christian, sir.
I'm pure and virtuous and wholesome and innocent. How can you say anything bad about me?
Sir, you need to be born again.
I am born again.
Now, did you just say that you are Lucifer?
I am Lucifer.
Okay, define Lucifer for me.
Pure, virtuous, wholesome, innocent individual that's out to help people.
Lucifer is?
Yeah.
Say that again. Lucifer is a pure, holy...
Virtuous.
Virtuous. Now, is he the Lucifer that God created?
That's the same one.
Oh, man, this is great. I'm going to put this on the internet.
Oh,
Amen.
God bless you,
Amen.
brother.
Because that's exactly what the Shriners and Masons teach, is that Lucifer is light.
No.
And you're,
what
you're
about
confirming
those hospitals?
You know what, sir? Jesus said, many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, we did not do these good deeds in your name. And you'll say, away from me, you workers of iniquity. I never knew you.
Jesus said it?
In Matthew chapter 5.
Mercy.
No.
That's hard to believe.
So you're a Christian and you don't know that. Actually.
No, I really am.
You are.
Because I'm pure and virtuous.
You're pure and virtuous, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In other words, you're perfect without Jesus, right?
No.
Okay, tell me about Jesus. Who is Jesus?
Well, he's my leader.
Is he the Son of God?
Yes, he is.
Is he the only worshipful master?
Yes.
Have you ever been called worshipful master?
No, because I've just been too busy. I've been working.
Working?
Been working to help people.
What
like
kind
you.
of work? Okay.
Get out of here.
See, this is what a Mason confesses, is that Lucifer is light. You heard it?
So this room houses our Albert Pike collection. Not only was Albert Pike our Grand Commander from 1859 until 1891 when he died in office, he was also a well-known teacher, lawyer, explorer, and Confederate general. He fought for the South during the Civil War because he thought the South would treat the Native Americans better. He was born in Massachusetts, but he did not fight for the North. All the books you see in this room are from his personal library, and he wrote about half of them. So this room is our banquet hall. This room holds 400 people, and we mostly rent it out for charity events, speakers, dinners, that sort of thing. But there is no alcohol allowed in this building, so no casino events or weddings are held here. Most Masonic lodges do not allow alcohol except for Shriners lodges, which is Shriners is another set. These two paintings here are Masonic paintings, painted by Brother John Melius in the 70s. This painting is of George Washington laying the cornerstone to our Capitol. This is significant because he's wearing his full Masonic ritual regalia. He's got his square and compass, he's got his apron, he's got his gavel. And the three men to the right of him here are holding corn, oil, and wine, which are Old Testament gifts of prosperity, and they were leaders of lodges from around here. Now that cornerstone has been lost to history. People have tried looking for it and they cannot find it. They buried cornerstones under the ground. People have told me that that cornerstone has some Masonic writing on it. Whether that's some lost legend or a mystery on it, I don't know, but we cannot find it. This painting is of George Washington taking the oath of office as our first president. This is in New York because New York was the capital at the time. And the reason why this painting is so significant is because the man in blue holding the Bible is a Mason, and he's holding a Masonic Bible. That is the Bible that has been used by basically every president since George Washington. Although Barack Obama did not use that Bible, he used Abraham Lincoln's personal Bible. That Bible has still been used by basically every president.
Yeah, Mason Bible. Totally demonic. Well, for Masonic use. So they've got alternate definitions of words. But what really shocked me the first time I picked this up, sun god, Ra, Amen, the Father of God, the Creator, published in the Freemason Bible.
What's the difference between a Masonic Bible versus
Masonic Bible has Masonic inscriptions in it. It's still a King James Bible. It just has Masonic inscriptions and they use it for rituals. So this hallway contains paintings of each degree's regalia. So these plaques here say which degree you are. So the 22nd degree is the Knight Royal Axe, Prince of Libanus. And this text here is the lesson that you learned at that degree. Y'all can feel free to take a look at each one of the degrees. Take your time. Masonic philanthropy. Masons give on average $2 million a day back to the community. That ranges from scholarships to funding hospitals, to paying to homeless shelters, that sort of thing. Masons do a lot. It's just not something people know about.
Is the philanthropy public, or do you mean they don't know?
It's public. It's just people don't pay attention to it, or people have certain assumed things about Masonry, like they think it's a cult or something like that. they choose to ignore this sort of thing. This room in here contains international books, so minutes or notes from lodges around the world, they get sent to us and we categorize them. Other famous Masons include Gene Autry, Audie Murphy, Douglas MacArthur, Brad Paisley, Arnold Palmer, J. Edgar Hoover. There have been many famous people that have been Masons. We call this room our Americanism Museum. It's dedicated to famous Americans who have been Masons. Some highlights include a portrait of George Washington that you see there. We have the 33rd copy. We also have a replica flag of the Masonic flag that was put on the moon.
The Masonic flag was put on the moon?
Yep, Buzz Aldrin was a Mason and he put a Masonic flag on the moon.
So he left one just like it?
Yeah, a larger version of it. They brought 14 flags to the moon and only took a couple back.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen, so in the future, if we want to keep doing something, we need to know why something stopped in the past that we wanted to keep it going.
I've only ever seen pictures of the American flag.
Stuff you don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know the Cat in the Hat was a Freemason. Was Dr. Seuss a Mason?
No, he was not. This is just for kids.
Oh, okay.
We were allowed into the library of Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, where it's probably one of the largest collection of Freemasonic books inside. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm rather blown away, and it was quite the experience. I could almost feel the creepy, evil energy coming off of this place just from being inside.
President, you raise your right hand. You, Harry S. Truman, do solemnly swear.
I, Harry S. Truman, do solemnly swear.
That you will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
That I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of your ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Dwight D. Eisenhower, do solemnly swear. I, Dwight D. Eisenhower, do solemnly swear that you will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States. That I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States, and will, to the best of your ability, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help you God. So help me God. You Dwight D. Eisenhower, do solemnly swear. I, Dwight D. Eisenhower, do solemnly swear. That you will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States. That I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States. And will, to the best of your ability. And will, to the best of my ability. Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help you God. So help me God. Thank you very much.
Freemasons met across the Union and Confederate divide to celebrate their common rituals.
And today, Freemasonry remains an active part of military life in many countries.
Freemasonry has burned as a blazing fire through the last 3 centuries. The driving force behind the Royal Society was initiated into Freemasonry.
Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, father of Queen Victoria, and Prince Augustus, Duke of Sussex. The 2 princes brought their feuding Grand Lodges together and reconciled to be the United Grand Lodge of England.
Kings George IV, William IV, Edward VII, Edward VIII, and George VI were all Freemasons, as were 18 dukes and princes, including the Duke of Edinburgh.
This year, His Royal Highness Prince Edward, the Duke of Kent, celebrates his 50th year as Grand Master of the United Grand Lodge of England.
His Royal Highness was proposed into Freemasonry by the then Grand Master, the Earl of Scarborough.
He was initiated into Royal Alpha Lodge number 16, an advocate for the craft all over the world, continuing 3 centuries of distinguished royal tradition at the very heart of English Freemasonry.
To order, brethren, to receive the most worshipful, the Grand Master.
As permanent master of these 3 lodges, I now call on my deputy masters.
Most worshipful Grand Master. Most worshipful Grand Master. Most worshipful Grand Master.
Most worshipful Grand Master, I humbly ask you to complete the initiation of this worthy candidate for Freemasonry.
Adorn our ceremonies and forever remind us of our incomparable heritage, the birth of organized Freemasonry,
stressing the deep and sincere loyalty and affection felt by the Brethren of the United Grand Lodge of England for their Grand Master.
I had the pleasure of meeting 136 Grand Masters visiting from overseas at Freemasons Hall yesterday. Today, though, we are a meeting of more than 4,000 gathered from all around the world, from our own constitution and beyond. When the global Masonic family comes together to celebrate our past and renew our own pride and confidence in and enthusiasm for Freemasonry.
Hey everyone, I'm glad we're back today. I want to tell you about God. God is Jesus, and Jesus is God. And Jesus came to earth to die for our sins, and he raised from the grave so that we can have eternal life and live with him forever in heaven. It's a great thing to talk about because God is the one who will set you free from sin. And sin is the bad stuff we do, and the bad stuff we think, and the bad stuff we say, and the bad stuff we do, and the bad stuff we say, like lying and not being truthful. Sin is just on our hearts, but God takes it and puts it on his own Son while he's dying on the cross. He took our sin so that we can live with him forever. And that's amazing. It's amazing that God takes our sin and gives it to Jesus, and Jesus dies on the cross and raised from the grave, and we can have eternal life with him. That's crazy. But I just wanted to talk to you guys about that because I know I love Jesus. I just love you, and I want to say goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.